If you've been diagnosed with cancer, you've probably asked yourself one of the most natural questions imaginable. Why did I get cancer? Maybe you ate pretty well. Maybe you exercised. Maybe you never smoked. Maybe cancer doesn't even run in your family. So why you? It's a good question. Unfortunately, you may never be able to identify one definitive cause because cancer usually doesn't work that way. Cancer develops through an accumulation of changes that allow abnormal cells to grow, survive, evade the immune system, and eventually grow out of control. And many different factors can influence that process. Now, you might wonder whether any of this matters now that you already have cancer. I think it matters enormously, because if you never consider the conditions that may have contributed to your cancer, how do you know whether those conditions are still present? Your oncologist may successfully remove a tumor, irradiate it, or destroy detectable cancer cells with chemotherapy, immunotherapy, targeted therapy, or some combination of treatments. That's tremendously important. But there's another question worth asking. What was happening in your body that allowed those cancer cells to develop and survive in the first place? And what, if anything, can you change now? Part of what makes this complicated is that cancer usually doesn't have one cause. We know some powerful cancer risk factors. Smoking dramatically increases the risk of lung cancer and several others. Ultraviolet radiation contributes to skin cancer. Certain infections can cause or promote cancer. Alcohol increases the risk of several cancers. Obesity and metabolic dysfunction are associated with numerous cancers. Certain inherited mutations can dramatically increase susceptibility. But even then, the relationship isn't absolute. Not every smoker develops lung cancer. Not every person with a BRCA mutation develops breast or ovarian cancer. Not every person infected with a cancer-associated virus develops cancer. Why? Because cancer is usually the result of multiple factors interacting over time. Depending on the individual, those factors may include inherited genetic susceptibility, acquired genetic and epigenetic changes, environmental and occupational exposures, tobacco and alcohol, chronic infections, impaired immune surveillance, metabolic dysfunction, obesity and insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, disrupted or inadequate sleep, radiation exposure, hormonal influences, diet and nutritional status, trauma, toxic emotions, and chronic stress. And there may be contributors we don't yet understand. That's why two people can experience apparently similar exposures and have completely different outcomes. And there's another piece of this that's important. Our genes haven't changed dramatically over the past few centuries. Our environment has. Industrialization has transformed our food supply, activity levels, sleep patterns, air, water, occupations, consumer products, and exposure to synthetic chemicals. One striking illustration came from a 2004 investigation of umbilical cord blood from American newborns. Researchers detected an average of about 200 industrial chemicals and pollutants in the samples, including pesticides, chemicals used in consumer products, and byproducts of burning coal, gasoline, and waste. Think about what that means. These babies hadn't smoked. They hadn't eaten fast food for 40 years. They hadn't worked in factories. They were exposed before they were even born. Now, finding a chemical in someone's blood doesn't prove it will cause cancer. Dose, duration, timing, detoxification, and countless other factors matter. But it demonstrates something important. None of us develops cancer in a vacuum. Even genetics doesn't tell the whole story. Consider BRCA mutations. Certain inherited BRCA1 and 2 variants can dramatically increase a woman's lifetime risk of breast and ovarian cancer. But increased risk isn't the same as certainty. Even among people carrying powerful cancer predisposing mutations, not everyone develops cancer. Genes interact with everything else happening inside and around us. This is one reason I believe it is so important to look for factors that may have contributed to your cancer. Many people understandably approach cancer somewhat like a broken bone. Something went wrong. You go to the doctor treats it. You follow your doctor's instructions. Eventually, you're told you're all better. Naturally, you want to get back to your life. I don't blame you. But cancer isn't a broken bone. Just because a treated tumor is no longer detectable with scans doesn't mean it's gone. Nor does it mean that the factors that caused it are gone. This is why, whenever someone tells me I had cancer, two questions immediately come to mind. Why did you get it? And what have you changed to reduce the chances of it happening again? We may never be able to answer the first question perfectly, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't ask it. Treating the cancer and investigating the person who developed the cancer are not mutually exclusive. While your oncology team focuses on destroying or controlling the cancer, you can also investigate potentially modifiable factors involving metabolism, inflammation, immune function, nutrition, environmental exposures, infections, hormones, sleep, stress, and other aspects of your health. And if you're already in remission, this may be an especially important time to ask these questions, because the goal isn't simply to hear the words, "Your cancer is in remission." The goal is to do everything reasonably within your control to remain healthy for decades to come. If you have cancer or have been told your cancer is in remission and want to explore the factors that may have contributed to your particular situation, consider scheduling a consultation with Prestige Wellness Institute. Your oncologist can focus on treating the cancer. Prestige Wellness Institute can help you focus on an equally important task, searching out why it happened to you and helping you reduce your risk of getting it back.